Welcome to the What is Stoicism podcast.
The word philosophy comes from the ancient Greek words philos, love, and sophia, wisdom. The Stoics took that meaning seriously. As Donald Robertson explains in How to Think Like a Roman Emperor, they loved wisdom, or put another way, they loved virtue above everything else. If the word virtue sounds a bit stiff or pompous, another translation may help. The Greek word arete can be understood as excellence of character. Something possesses arete when it performs its function well. A knife excels when it cuts well. A horse excels when it runs well. Human beings excel when they think clearly and reason well about their lives. In other words, humans excel when they live wisely. That's a useful way to understand Stoicism, especially if you're just beginning to apply it in practical terms. It's not always obvious what being virtuous looks like in the middle of an ordinary day, but if we think of it as striving for excellence of character, trying to act well, think well, and respond well, then the aim becomes more concrete. The Stoics, following Socrates, divided virtue into four cardinal forms: wisdom, justice, courage, and moderation. Robertson explains that the latter three can be seen as wisdom applied in different parts of life. Justice is wisdom expressed in our relationships with others and in our contribution to the common good. Courage is wisdom applied to fear. Moderation is wisdom applied to desire. Together they describe a person who thinks clearly, acts fairly, faces difficulty nobly, and resists excess. So what are we trying to do each day? We're trying to apply wisdom to every area of life. We want to think clearly and reason well in how we treat others, in how we face our fears, and in how we protect ourselves against excess and unhealthy desire. We strengthen that capacity through curiosity, discipline, and learning, but above all through a genuine love of wisdom. And perhaps one of the best ways to deepen that love of wisdom is to step back and place ourselves in perspective. Here's what we are: the most abundant and widespread species of primate on a planet called Earth. One species among millions of other species, one form of life on one world. A species, of course, is a word our species invented to describe a group of living organisms capable of interbreeding. And the word is itself just a sound we make, or a collection of letters we write down to represent meaning. Much of what structures our experience is, in this sense, human-made. We name things, divide things, label things, classify things, and then often mistake those classifications for ultimate reality. Earth itself is the third planet from a ball of hot plasma we call the Sun. It's a terraqueous orb moving through space. Our species has divided its surface into countries and regions using mostly imaginary lines, and each of us is born on one part of that orb and usually comes to feel attached to it. We build identities around these lines, histories around these names, loyalties around these inventions. And yet, despite how seriously we often take ourselves, here's what we often assume without evidence: that we are the most important thing in the universe. The universe, as far as we understand it, is all of space and time and their contents: stars, galaxies, planets, light, matter, energy, and whatever else may exist beyond our current knowledge. In that vastness, it helps us to remember that our problems, though real, aren't always as large as they feel from close up. Whenever life starts to feel too heavy, too urgent, or too self-important, it can help to zoom out. An above-average human lifespan is about 80 years. That's just over 4,000 weeks. If we're fortunate, that's how long we breathe. By contrast, our planet is believed to be about 4.5 billion years old. Measured against that span, even a long human life occupies only a tiny fraction of Earth's history. We think we're big, but we're small. We think we have a lot of time, but we don't. This isn't meant as pessimism. It's not an attempt to strip life of meaning by describing it in objective terms. Quite the opposite. Perspective doesn't diminish life, it intensifies it. It's precisely because our time is limited that it matters what we do with it. It's the meaning we give to our lives that makes them happy ones. It's our awareness of mortality that urges us to live well while we can. And it's our sense of vastness around us that helps us put our everyday worries into perspective and reminds us that this too shall pass. Marcus Aurelius reached a similar conclusion nearly 2,000 years ago when he wrote that the earth itself is no more than a speck. Today, images of the cosmos make that observation feel even more humbling, and yet there's something freeing in that smallness. We may be brief and tiny in the scale of existence, but we aren't separate from it. We're connected to the whole. And this is where the Stoic love of wisdom becomes most practical. If we are small, then vanity is a waste. If our time is short, then delay is a risk. If we're connected to one another, then cruelty makes no sense. If all of us are temporary, vulnerable beings, trying to make our way through existence, then justice, courage, moderation, and wisdom aren't abstract ideals, they're necessities. So if you woke up this morning, if you're listening to this now, here's what you have: time to live. Here's what you control: your thoughts, your intentions, and your actions. Here's who benefits from your kindness: everyone. And here's the only thing you really need to be: a good person. That may be the clearest summary of Stoicism there is. Love wisdom, seek excellence of character, zoom out often enough to remember how brief and precious life is, then come back to the present and do what's yours to do. Think clearly, act justly, face difficulty bravely, and live with moderation. That's how a human being excels. That's how a life becomes meaningful. And that's why philosophy, rightly understood, isn't an abstract pastime, but a way of learning how to be fully and properly alive.